Well, today we're talking about turning personal connections into business relationships, and our theme this month is referrals. So we are going to weave that into today's topic. And if you can give us the next slide, we'll talk a little bit about that. We are really quoting the episode 945 and which is on that topic. And our founder, Ivan Misner, recommended during this episode that you've got to keep relationships going by having touch points. And the reason is that sort of law of inertia. If things are at rest, they'll stay at rest unless you do something. And he proposed that purposeful business interaction is really the remedy for that, the touch points. And the next slide will just mention a little bit more about what is the connection to referrals on this topic. So we have something we call the VCP. It's visibility, credibility, and profitability. And Ivan Misner talked about how people can get stuck in that visibility and just not move ahead. So they don't reposition themselves as professionals, and that's what's needed. And he says that without this shift, referrals rarely happen or maybe never happen. So in the next slide, let's look at this a little bit more closely. There are 6 strategies given in this episode to shift to a position yourself as a professional. I'm going to go through them quickly. This is an episode to really, really look at carefully because there's so much in there. And the first is to start signaling your professional identity through conversations. I'll give you an example of that one. Second is to use a soft business hook. Naturally weave your business into everyday conversation is what that's about. Number 3 is use the feel, felt, and found technique when your contact talks about problems. And you'll want to dig into that by listening to that episode. And fourth, show respect for their knowledge and elevate the conversation to a business level. 5, invite them into your business circle. Position yourself as a connector, not a taker. And to Donna Ivy's point, give before you ask. Reciprocity needs to be a relational process. So in the next slide, this just gives you an example of the first thing, how to signal your professional identity. And so instead of just saying, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee someday, he suggested, I'd love to learn more about what you do professionally. And I think you see the difference here. So in closing, the call to action is to really consider what strategy you'll use today to turn those personal connections into business relationships. And this episode is hot off the press from the 28th of January. So Frank, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much for that, Kay. Now we're going to get over to Brian's one